Okay, so hi everybody watching the recording. People are going to jump on here a little bit, but so I tend to get pretty passionate when I start talking about especially mindset stuff and just this business in general. And just so you guys know, anger and passion look and sound the same sometimes. So I just want to give you a heads up that I'm not angry, I'm just super passionate. Yeah, and you guys can just mute yourselves when you hop on. But and yeah, if you guys have known me for a while, like Brittany, we've been friends since like 2011, 2012. So she's watched me from day one. And so I'm sure she has some things to share. I just wanted to be like an open book and be really vulnerable with you guys and share my story. I'm going to try to keep things sequential, but I might jump around a lot. But I think it's just really important for you guys to see that I'm a normal human being. I almost said human person again. And I've gone through a lot in life and in this business, and it is not all unicorns and butterflies. I'm going to share the good stuff, but I'm going to really share the hard stuff that I've gone through too. And I'm sure as I start talking, I'll probably trigger other things that have happened that I forgot to write down. So yeah, I'll just start back to when I first, I guess I'll go way back. I'll just kind of share my story. So I was a gymnast growing up my entire life. Well, basically age 9 to like 18. And when I graduated high school, I lost gymnastics. You know, they don't have gymnastics in Mankato where I went to college. And I don't know if I would have necessarily pursued it anyways. So I lost that and went to college in 2006 in Mankato and felt really, really lost. You know, I had started classes. I didn't know what I wanted to go to school for. I thought it was nursing. I just wanted to help people. And I would go to the gym that the college offered. I had no plan, like literally nothing. I would do like the same 15-minute abs. I would run on the treadmill for about a good hour, and I knew how to do bicep curls and the tricep stuff, and that's like really all that I would do. And I picked up running because I didn't like it, but I knew that that was a great way to get some leg muscles and keep my weight good. So I would run aimlessly. I winged a half marathon at a certain point. That was not smart. But essentially from 2006 to 2011, I didn't know what I was doing, and I lost my passion for health and fitness. So come 2011, I started grad school for speech language pathology. I had been doing that for a couple of years in my undergrad, and I knew that that's what I wanted to do. So I went to grad school. I got accepted into grad school. It was super hard to get into. And once I started that, I was also waitressing basically full time at Tab on the Ave in Mankato. I would, go to school during the day, go to waitress at 4 p.m. until 1 a.m., and then go home after drinking a mug of Blue Moon and study for a test that I had to take at 9 a.m. the next day. And that was like my life for about 6 years. And so I gained weight, surprise, surprise. I gained about 15 pounds in 2 to 3 months when I started grad school. And it was Thanksgiving 2011, and I'll never forget just looking in the mirror and feeling really sluggish, really bloated, lacking that confidence. And I was in an unhealthy relationship. When things were good, they were great. When things were bad, they were awful. And I knew that something needed to change. And so my sister, I think, actually burned the P90X DVDs for me. And I did P90X all by myself. I didn't know that challenge groups existed. In fact, I don't think they did back then. And I didn't know coaching existed. So I just literally did this thing by myself. As a gymnast, I was a perfectionist. So I never cheated once during that entire 90-day program. That was so dumb. But I felt on top of the world when I completed that program in 90 days. And I just remember being like, I don't know who needs to hear this right now. Like, I need to share my results with people. Like, I need people to feel as good as I feel. And I didn't know where to send them. Like, I didn't know that P90X was Beachbody. I just knew, like, hey, I'll burn some DVDs for you. I don't even care. Like, I just want people to get their hands on this. And I shared my before and after pictures on Facebook, and remember this girl, this random girl from South Dakota, reached out to me saying, hey, you're like a walking billboard for Beachbody. And I'm like, what the heck is Beachbody? And I'm like, this sounds like a huge scam. No thanks. And then about a month went by, and one of my girlfriends who I roomed with in college was like, Brooke, I'm a coach. Like, this thing is legit. You should totally do this. And because people do business with people they know, like, and trust, right? I joined her. And I'm sure, you know, what a small world. The girl who had previously invited me a month before was my girlfriend's upline coach. So like, what are the chances? And I felt really bad. I'm like, oh shoot, sorry. Like, I should have went with you, but I joined my friend. And so I did really well with it for, I think it was like a month. And I think I made like $1,000 or something. It must have been like 1 to 3 months that I did coaching back in 2012. And I don't remember quitting the business. I don't remember my coach account being terminated. I don't remember anything. All I remember is letting that unhealthy relationship of 4 years consume me. I had lived with him for 1.5 years. I thought I was going to marry this guy, you know. And when that relationship ended, I hit rock bottom. And it was at the same time that I had thrown Beachbody in the trash. And I just went into this huge down spiral. It was still to this day, like the worst experience in my life. Like, I lost a lot of friends through that situation. And I didn't have a positive community anymore because I had given it away through Beachbody. And so long story short, that was hell. And so for the next 2 years, I quit Beachbody. I dabbled in the workouts a little bit, but I had tried Shakeology one time during that time when I was a coach previously, and I made it with like 10 million ice cubes, no liquid, and a scoop of chocolate Shakeology in a kitchen blender. So yeah, that apparently Shakeology is disgusting. No, Brooke, you're the idiot that made it wrong. Shakeology is delicious, but give it more than one attempt and make it right. So for 2 years, I thought Shakeology was disgusting. I can find something just as good quality. I can find it cheaper. I found the latter, but not the first part. And I tried 3 different other companies, you guys. I'm not going to name names, but they were chemical shitstorms. And I still love the workouts. You know, I did Turbo Fire, I did P90X, I can't remember what else I did, but those were like my 2 main go-tos. I never switched it up. And 2 years went by, and a lot of stuff happened in those 2 years. You know, I met, you know, Mike and I were friends for 3 years, so we started dating. And we got married. I moved to Arizona, away from everything that I knew, up in Minnesota, where I lived for 26 years. I started speech language pathology here in Arizona in the skilled nursing facility setting. So I worked a lot with the elderly, and I loved swallowing therapy. I loved helping people with dysphagia following a stroke. Like, that was my passion. I loved doing cognitive therapy. I worked with a lot of patients with dementia. I loved it. And life was great, you know, from anyone looking from the outside in, and my life was perfect, right? But that wasn't the case. I had no friends down here. I knew nobody except for Mike's handful of friends. I was in $50,000 of student loan debt. And I remember crying to him one day in our master bathroom about a year after we were, after I had started speech therapy, a few months after we had gotten married. And I remember saying to him, like, I just feel like something is missing in my life. You know, I was going to work every day. I was living the rat race, and I loved my job, but I was feeling burned out. I got paid hourly. If the work was there, I got paid. If the work wasn't there, I didn't get paid. And I thought ahead, and I wanted to be a mom someday. I thought, how can I make this work for when I'm a mom someday? I'm going to be so burned out. I'm already burned out a year after starting this. And so there was that in the back of my mind. I just felt like there was something more that I could be doing. Like, I just wanted to make a bigger impact than I already was with my full-time job. And those are my main things. I was also inconsistent with my health and fitness because I put myself on the back burner because of my job that I was burned out at. There were days where I was working 10 to 12 hour days. I was bebopping around the valley, the Phoenix area, going from facility to facility and helping patients. I would drive an hour across town just to see 2 patients sometimes. It was ridiculous. But I needed to pay off this debt, right? Mike was like, 10 years, we got to pay that off in 10 years. And I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible. I feel like I'm working just to pay off this stupid debt. And I'll never forget sitting on our bed. It was like probably a week before I decided to join Beachbody again. The previous year had paid $2,000 towards my student loan debt. And I was super proud about that. And tell me how many of you guys can relate to this. I heard from Mike, Brooke, you didn't pay any of that towards principal. It all went towards interest. And so you didn't move the needle. And I'm like, say what? Say what? Are you effing kidding me right now? And he goes, nope, you just basically threw that down the toilet. And I had never educated myself. I had no clue what that meant. And then he calculated how much money over the course of 10 years, if we just kept making minimum payments like we were towards my loans, how much money we would be throwing down the drain on interest. Oh boy, if you want to talk about a fire under your butt, you calculate how much interest you're going to throw down the toilet over the next however many years. That did it for me. You guys, those 2 years, I watched my upline coach, Allison Parr. She was still in Beachbody. She's always been kind of slow and steady with the business. She was paying off her dental school loans while in dental school. She's still paying them off now after dental school, but it was so cool watching her do that. She was always posting about her challengers' results and her results with the program. She was proof the products worked. She was living the lifestyle. She was just talking about her financial wins and just the positivity. And of course, when you're not getting that, you're jealous. You have an angry, bitter heart, and so that stuff annoys you. But you get annoyed first, and then after you see it for so long and you start to see, maybe I need this too, you kind of start to become jealous. And then I became open-minded. I was like, Brooke, she has everything you need. She has everything you want. You're struggling in all these different areas, financially, mentally, and physically. Why wouldn't you dive into this again? And so I did. I'll never forget her and I going out to lunch and talking about it. And I remember I didn't want to be perfect. I didn't want to be perfect with my nutrition. I wanted to have my cake and eat it too. Surprise, surprise. That's so me, right? Still to this day. And yeah, I just dove in. You know, a part of me was fearful because I thought, I kind of cared what people thought about me for a split second. I thought, who's going to join that girl that quit? Like, who would join me? I quit, became Beachbody's biggest naysayer, or Shakeology's biggest naysayer for 2 years, and is jumping back into this? Like, who would join her? Who would join that person? They probably think I'm going to quit again. And I also was worried about the time. Too. I was worried about the time that I was going to have to commit because I was working 10 to 12-hour days as a speech therapist. I also was nervous about posting on social media because before that point, I mainly posted about my cats and Mike. Like, that was my small little life, you know. So it was those things I was hesitant about, but I knew very early on. Sorry if my internet's unstable, you guys. I knew very early on that if I was going to have success with this on a small or big level, I needed to go all in. And that didn't mean that I was going to be perfect every day or that it was going to be all unicorns and butterflies. I just knew that I needed to 100% commit, AKA take quitting off the table forever, because I knew that if that option was there, I would take that out when life got hard. Like, I just knew that would happen because I see it happen all the time in this business. So many people started business like this and then fizzle out after a few months because they weren't serious about it. They didn't take quitting off the table. So I cannonballed into this opportunity and I just never looked back. And so December 12th, 2014, I dove in and I've literally never, oh shoot, am I cutting out, Danielle? Am I back? Shoot. Am I back, guys? Can you give me a thumbs up?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay.
You just cut out a little bit here and there.
Okay. Can you get the gist, though?
I think so.
Okay.
Some of it.
Is there anything you want me to repeat?
Maybe just those last few sentences. I think you just cut out a big one on that one.
Okay. So yeah, I just basically cannonballed into this, you guys. Like I didn't look back at all. I took quitting off the table. That was not an option in my eyes. I just knew that I needed to have that mindset. And so yeah, December 12th, 2014, I jumped in again and just went all in from there. So my girlfriend, Allison, she is so great, you know, but she's never really been that mentor. Her and I would like get together for lunch here and there here in Phoenix, and we would talk about the business, but it was never really that person who would like lead calls for me or help me with wording, you know, like she would help me with little questions here and there, but for the most part, I built this business by myself. And some of you in this page were a part of our old team page, and you can kind of remember that there were some great nuggets in there, but it was all just kind of thrown together and it was like one big vomit of information. And, you know, I tore apart those files. I printed off all the files. I created this 3-ring binder, and I just became obsessed with taking action and just being hungry to learn and hungry to figure it out. I knew that the sooner I figured out this business, the faster I was going to see success. But I needed to take action first and learn as my dessert. Does that make sense? Like eat that business activity tracker first and learn like as your dessert. So I'll never forget my first coach prospect call that I did by myself. It was an hour long. I didn't know what I was doing. And actually that was with Danielle. Sorry, this was my second one, but my first one was with Danielle Cheetah, the one who encouraged me to have this call. She was my first business builder coach 2 weeks into my business. And I had this phone call on my ride home from seeing my parents. I had no template in front of me, no script in front of me. I couldn't even tell you what I said or what I asked, but I just was really passionate. That's all I knew. I basically was like, you need to do this. And I'm sure Danielle can like type out some things in the chat that she remembers, but like, it's all such a blur to me. And so that went really well. You know, she probably joined me because I was just really passionate about it. And I was honest that I was new, and I was like, you can learn with me. And then my second coach prospect call with a cold market person, I think this is the one that really stuck out to me. I'll never forget. We had like an hour-long phone call. I thought it went really well. Again, I didn't know what I was doing, but she ended up blocking me and joined somebody else. And I cried when that happened. You know, it was my first like horrible moment. Danielle said, I remember Brooke asking about me and interested in what I was doing right now. Oh, that's cool, Danielle. Yeah, when you guys make it about other people, it takes all the pressure off of you. I think I remember learning about that. I was like, make it about other people. It's a lot less scary for you, a lot less pressure. So that's what I was doing. I asked a lot of questions about people. So yeah, I'll never forget that defining moment when I had my first person, you know, block me and join somebody else. Those moments, you guys, are the best moments that could ever happen to you. Another experience that I remember, I had made one of my first posts. Am I cutting out again? Am I cutting out? No? Okay. I remember making this post. I think it was one of my first posts about people joining me or the income opportunity, whatever. And this random troll is what I call these random people on Facebook and Instagram who have nothing better to do than poop on people. He messaged me and he goes, you should be ashamed of yourself. How braggadocious. That is so just not classy and all this stuff, and totally bombing on my post that I had made, which looking back, it probably needed some improvements, but I always led with serving other people. And so I was just wanting to help people. I got nervous. My heart started to race and I edited my post. And he goes, there, much better. And I'll never forget that. And that lit this anger in me. I was like, F this guy, screw that. I regret that. I am never changing who I am or changing anything or censoring anything anymore. Again, that was a bad situation that would make most people quit. I use it as fuel to my fire. Like, I'm sure you're starting to see a trend, you guys, that I use bad experiences as learning experiences. That's all they are to me, you know? When I started this business, you guys, I was in the middle of moving to a different skilled nursing facility setting. So transitioning within the same job, but a different facility. We were putting our condo up for sale. Mike had recently been laid off. We were building this home and moving to a random condo in Old Town Scottsdale for 4 months, waiting for our house to be built. All of that while I started Beachbody coaching and building this business. And I showed people the inconvenient moments. I showed people the sacrifices that I was making. I showed people how to capitalize on creating this business from an iPad or your phone and working out in a small master bedroom that is like a 6 foot by 7 foot space in an L shape around the bed. Like I just always showed those things. And it inspired people. My business blew up, you guys. I was hitting Success Club 60 my second month as a coach, 40, 50 during that first year. And I'm not sitting here saying that Success Club is the end all be all, but a lot of people were signing up for me, even if they purchased Energize or Bod or Shakeology by itself. That's huge. That's huge. And so there was success in those vulnerable, honest, real moments, right? So those could have easily been setbacks. Those are often what you may have said or what you will hear coaches say when they join this business is, oh, life. When is life not going to happen? Like life is never going to slow down. In fact, it's only going to get crazier. So you might as well learn how to blend this in and make the time for it, right? Okay, now is where I kind of need to go to my notes because it starts to get all crazy. Okay. I'm going to get really real with you guys here, and I might have to mark this video as unlisted so that my parents can't find this. But so growing up, what I saw was an unhealthy, poor conflict resolution, lots of fighting, volatile fighting in my household. And so I didn't really see compassion very much, apologizing. I didn't see what a healthy relationship looked like. So that, I think, bled into a lot of my relationships, right? Like it caused issues in all my relationships. I just wasn't aware of it. And it kind of bled into this business a little bit in the beginning. And thank God for personal development because I wouldn't have become aware of this. But I used to be a pearl personality when I was younger, and you guys probably know that from the GEM test that you guys take through the new Coach About Me form. I was a pearl when I was younger, a pearl sapphire, and through life and my parents and those relationships sculpting me, I turned into a very hard, bitter, negative ruby, like very rough around the edges ruby. And rubies do really well in this kind of business because they kind of have this go-getter, action taker, depending on their life experiences, F what everyone thinks mindset, right? That was me. And I contribute some very hard stuff in my life towards my success because it kind of gave me that like upper edge, you know? I tapped into that part of me that I kind of turned that anger into passion, you know what I'm saying? And so I had to really learn personalities. I remember hearing very early on from Lindsay Krause and just Christina Solons that personalities and learning who you are and what makes you tick is so important because you will attract your kind of person when you know who you are. And I wasn't a very good mentor. I wasn't a very good leader because I kind of treated everyone like me. I thought if they weren't like me, they were wrong, they were dumb, they didn't know what they were doing, and they were weird, you know, like that's just how rubies think. And so I had to learn that that's not right. I had to learn that everyone has different personality styles. Everyone has different communication styles. Everyone has different things they're motivated by. And it doesn't make it wrong. It doesn't make them weird. I just had to learn to be a chameleon and to acquire kind of like a personality disorder through my mentorship so that I could better lead people and understand who I was so that I could work on my weaknesses, but really capitalize on my strengths, right? So I'm still not perfect, never will be, but that was a very hard lesson. I probably lost and scared away some people in the process. You know, the first 3 years of my business, I look back and I'm like, probably could have done better in those areas. So that was a very hard lesson learned for me. Also, for 4 years of my business, I was not in tune with just meeting people where they were at. It was challenge pack or bust, where literally I wouldn't get them signed up, even if they could only do bot at that time. I didn't develop my leaders. I basically was like, I figured it out on my own, you should too. Oh my God, talk about volume killing in every way, shape, or form. So not only did I do that, but what you do or don't do duplicates to your team, right? So a lot of my leaders did that with their teams, and it was just not good. And challenge packs are amazing, you guys. Like, I still lead with them, but I'm not going to be like, okay, you can't join me then. And I also used to say, you have to do Shakeology to stay in my groups too. So it just really killed the vibe. It really killed the volume. I also did not showcase other products and programs very well. So slap in the face, right? Some things that I've kind of endured all through my coaching business is, you know, I have 2 young kids. Easton is going to be 4 in June, and Avery just turned 2, so they're 18 months apart. Oh my God, I don't recommend that to anybody. Everyone says it's going to be fine, but I don't feel like it's fine right now. So I breastfed exclusively, especially with Avery, for 8 months. I was glued to my couch, working my business from my phone with my thumb, night fed all throughout the night. I was exhausted, you guys, but I still saw success in my business because early on I had read The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. If you haven't read that book yet, please do. That is the foundational, like, huge part of this business. Without that foundational mindset, you're not going anywhere in this, and you're gonna like think you're a failure and have the perfectionist mindset and give up when things aren't working in a hot second. And so breastfeeding galore, like breastfeeding brings all sorts of postpartum hormones and just crazy. All my moms on here know what I'm talking about. It's crazy. I had E. coli for 2 weeks. So in 2018, when that outbreak happened, I was one of those lucky people. That was horrible. I literally did my invites from the toilet, TMI. But in 2017, you guys, a lot of you maybe weren't a part of our team yet, but remember back in the day, we were all part of DVDs, like we did all DVDs, and that was great for volume because every time a new programmer would launch or people wanted to do different programs, they would have to buy the DVDs. And there was volume attached to all those DVDs, which is great for our team volume, right? Ka-ching, ka-ching. But when we switched from DVDs to Beachbody On Demand, where people got complete access to all of the programs at once and didn't have to buy them individually and just had that one volume amount. I didn't know this back then because I was so in my own lane and laser focused on working my business because I had recently quit speech therapy. I didn't realize that volume had plummeted. I didn't even realize it. Like, I was just so gung-ho on building my empire and helping my coaches that I didn't even notice or hear about this revelation until I think it was like 6 months to a year after, and people were complaining about their volume. And I didn't really notice a huge difference in mine because I was building like a mofo. And I think that's what saved me, as I just kept my eyes down. I didn't focus on people quitting. I just focused on building. And so, yeah, that happened a couple months after I quit speech therapy. So can you guys imagine if I would have been aware of that fact? That would have been huge urgency in my business. It would have freaked most people out, and they might have like went to go waitress or something, but I just stuck to my business. I fully committed to my business, and this was now my family's lifeline. You know, when you have urgency in this business, you'll work this business. I needed this business during numerous occasions, like when Mike had been laid off like 3 months into my business. I could have looked at this and been like, we can't afford this. But instead I was like, we can't afford not to do this. Like, hello, hello, there is no plan B. This is plan A. So what else? I also didn't really mean to quit speech therapy. I didn't pay attention to when my Department of Health license expired. It expired, and it just so happened that I was good to go with Beachbody. So it was kind of like that sign from the universe that I just needed to go all in with this. So kind of a weird story with that. Thank God I had Beachbody to fall into, because Mike would have killed me. I worked this business on my lunch break, you guys. So I worked this business for like a year and a half, you know, working full time as a speech therapist. And so I made the time for this. I woke up earlier, I stayed up later. I worked this business during the pockets of my day. I remember getting back to messages and making posts before I would go into my speech therapy job, and right before I'd leave to go home. I'd listen to personal development through a podcast when I was getting ready for the day, and I had my notebook on my vanity, and I would like take notes and I'd pause it and I'd share it with the team. Oh my gosh, you guys, guess what I just learned today? And I just like, I showed people that I was in the trenches, and it inspired them to do their personal development, which is the biggest part of this business, right? And so I always wanted to be doing the things that I wanted my coaches to be doing. And I would listen to the Platinum Edge podcast that our upline coach, Christine Dwyer, has to this day. Tune into that. I listened to that to and from my job. And I would work on my lunch break. So I had more negative coworkers that would gossip. And so I stepped away and I worked my business on the patio or in another room. I would get back to messages with one hand and would stuff my face with a sandwich in the other. And so that's what I did, you guys. I made the time for this. It wasn't sexy by any means. Most people aren't willing to do what I was willing to do, but I wanted this and needed this to work, you know? Let's see. I remember the first like 1 to 2 years of my business, I didn't lean into my upline team as much because I didn't really feel like it was there. Like with the Bod Squad, it's very much there. Like it's hardcore community. Like you guys have so much support. I didn't necessarily feel that, but looking back, I probably should have leaned into that team more. So I stemmed off. That was probably the biggest mistake I could have made, because it showed my coaches that in order to be successful, you have to branch off. But in this business, it's all about community, right? It's all about being a team. And if we're all on all these different islands by ourselves, it's so much work to build this momentum. And so that's what happened. The Bod Squad started with just little old me, and I created it 3 months into my business, and there was just a handful of us. And as you guys may know or not know, not everyone who starts this business wants to necessarily work it and put in any effort. And I didn't know that back then though. Like I just thought everyone wanted to work like I did. And so here I would post calls. You would maybe get one person on this call. The same exact call right here where you see all these people on, I'd be lucky if I got one person to show up. And I get frustrated. And I thought, screw everyone. No one is hardworking like I am, blah, blah, blah. Like I would blame other people and I'd have resentment, and it was stupid. And then I'd do training videos, which you should not be doing. I should have just been posting videos, right? I did that too, but I tried to reinvent the wheel so much that people started to look at me and be like, I can't. I'm not an expert. I don't want to do that. And it would just frustrate me because no one would post their takeaways or respond. You know, notice how it's all about me. Notice how I made it all about myself. I was so selfish and egotistical. Like, how many likes and comments did I get? Oh my gosh, just freaking serve your people where they are at. Love your people where they are at. I wish I could go back and maybe not have stemmed off. Maybe stayed a part of the upline team that I was a part of, and then not try to force, what is that, a square peg through a round hole, whatever that phrase is. I wish I wouldn't have been so hard on my coaches who didn't really want this in the first place that much. You can't force people to do this business. Okay. So yeah, like what you guys see now, this momentum in the virtual gym and in the Bod Squad, oh my gosh. It felt like I was pushing 10 boulders up the hill in the beginning, building this business and building that team page and building the virtual gym. And so that's why I just want you guys to keep the faith that to not necessarily go off on your own. That's not the definition of success. Please stick near us, especially like as your team's starting to grow. Like you need the community. You can't build a community by yourself. It's a really loud bird. I've had diamonds quit, you guys. I've probably had like 4 diamonds quit, 2 which have come back a little bit, but 4 diamonds. Most of you guys would probably think that once someone hits diamond, they're on, they're here to stay. That's not true. It's not hard to hit diamond. You know, it's really not. I had a girl go diamond in nearly a week, and she's nowhere to be seen now. Like, she was nowhere to be seen shortly after that. It's people's vision and their why that keeps them going. It's the fire in their belly. You can't create that for people. They have to want that for themselves. And so just because someone's diamond or shooting for diamonds, it doesn't mean that they really want this, you know? And looking back, I wish I wouldn't have beat myself up so much as a leader because of what other people weren't doing or doing. You can only look at yourself and do better for yourself and do what you want your people doing, and they will do it. Oh, thank you, Sabrina. Sabrina said, it's been so amazing to watch the growth and you grow through all these things. P.S. I was one of the coworkers who wasted her lunchtime gossiping, eating my frozen lean cuisine. Oh my God, I love you. Oh, you just reminded me of something, Sabrina. So I never shared this with my coworkers. So Heather Rice, Alicia Smith, Sabrina, I can't remember who else that we worked with. I was like afraid to share this with people that were closest to me. My cold market was kind of my jam because I thought, what do I have to lose? But that's so stupid because your warm market people have trust in you. They like you already. That's the fastest way to build your business in the beginning. Most people build their business to diamond off their master list. So kind of silly that I didn't share this with my coworkers because now they've all joined. Sabrina and Heather, like Heather shared her story, you know, my former boss shared her story on our live virtual workout event this past weekend, and Sabrina hosted it. Like, oh my God. So don't hold this back from anybody. Do not play God. Do not let your fear get in the way of sharing this gift because trust me, whether they join you or someone else, they're going to join. Our team missed elite 2 times by a hair the first 2 years of my business. So we're 2-time elite now, but we missed it by a hair, double over. That was crushing for me. But at that point I had realized I can't blame my coaches. That's on me. That's on me. And I don't know what the heck I wrote here, so I'm gonna skip that. But I now have Graves' disease. As you guys have seen, life never slows down. Life is never going to go away, right? It's coronavirus, like life is never going to stop. So Graves' disease, if you don't know what it is, you can Google it. I'm not going to go in depth on what that is, but I had struggled with that unknowingly for probably 1 to 2 years. This past year, I really didn't feel like myself. I kind of lost my passion for the business. I lost this desire to wake up early, and so I just didn't anymore. I got complacent with how much money I make, you know, just being super transparent about that. I still poured into my coaches, right? I still poured into my coaches and helped them build a business because that brought me the most passion, right? But here's the thing about this business. Once you get to a certain point, that's amazing. You can take your foot off the gas a little bit. You've earned that right then. It takes a couple of years to get to that point, but you can't stay there forever because new blood always revives you. And when you're in phase one, AKA in the trenches, doing what you want your coaches to do, your coaches will do more of it. And so I've had to step back a little bit lately because of my health condition. I've had to reduce my workload. I've had to reduce my stress. I've had to force myself to sleep more. I love to work, but I had to totally change my lifestyle. It was a huge wake-up call for me, you guys. I'm going to urge you to remember to pour into yourself. Remember to take care of yourself, because to be honest, I had major success in this business, but I was too off balance. You want to be in a push season in this business where you go hard for maybe a year tops, but I was going 100 miles per hour for 4 years straight. No wonder why I'm sick, right? Who knows if that's the reason, but it was a huge wake-up call for me. I was over caffeinating, I was undersleeping, I was over exercising, under eating, over pouring into other people who maybe didn't even deserve it. And it was burning me out. So I want to be real with you that this business will absolutely give you a life, but you have to be careful that it's not your life. You can absolutely see success with this business in the way that I did, in a healthier way. So that, I didn't write that down. That was kind of like off the cuff, but oh, thanks, Brittany. She complimented my nails. I always thought she seemed so happy but reserved. She friended me after she quit. Who is that, Sabrina? Oh, me? Was that me? That I friended you after I quit Mesa Christian? I think that's what you're saying. What else? So I'm using Graves' disease, you guys, as a way to relate to people and connect with people, and to show people that, yet again, you can have success through the inconvenient moments. And I'm talking to a lot of people who have Graves' disease too. It's like my new little target market. It's my new niche. And it's pretty cool to show people that you can gain weight through this lifestyle. I've struggled with weight loss due to this disease. So I'm excited to show people a side that people didn't even know existed with this lifestyle. What else? What questions do you guys have while I look at my notes here? I'm going to share with you guys a mindset that I had, in addition to, you know, like taking quitting off the table, yada, yada. I'll give you some more snippets of that. During your first year, when you were hitting those high success club numbers, what were you doing that others couldn't see? Behind the scenes work. Oh, good question. If you guys have not plugged into building relationship type personal development, I highly recommend it. John C. Maxwell has a great one. Lots of people communicate, few connect, something like that. The reason why people joined me is because I went the extra mile with building relationships and adding value to people's lives and giving a crap about them. So I would connect with someone if I knew that they were going through a divorce, or if they just experienced a miscarriage. I put that person down on my tracking system, not to reinvite them, but to ask, hey, you were on my heart. How are you doing? You know, and maybe it wasn't always that deep, you know, maybe it was just something a little bit more surface level and just was connecting. But I was a huge question asker. I just always connected with people on a one-on-one human level. And so when it came to my invite, or when it came to people seeing a call to action in my social media post, basically a join me post, people were like, me, pick me. And so I never did cold invites in the beginning. I never had to, because I was just being authentic, you know, and so I highly suggest relationship, connecting with people type personal development, because for some of you, that's a natural skill. It wasn't for me. I had to force myself to do it. I'm an introverted extrovert. So if you want to try to use that as an excuse, I'm not going to buy it, because I'm introverted more than I'm extroverted. So yeah, building relationships and follow-ups. The fortunes in the follow-up. If you think people are going to join you on the first, second, or third invite, nope, it's not going to happen. It's it's not about your timing or your why, it's about other people's timing and their why. And I promise you, if you're that person building a relationship and giving a crap about them on a human level and you're re-inviting, their timing's gonna be somewhere in that window, I can promise you. One of my friends it took her 4 years to join me, you guys. 4 years. Do not give up on people. Just stay in this. Just do what you're supposed to be doing, and you will have people join. What sacrifices did you make in your life in order to make this business work? Things you used to do that you might not do anymore. Oh, that's a good one. Something that sticks out to me is I cut out Netflix. So I used to binge watch The Walking Dead, and I knew that I didn't have time for that. Something had to give, with my full-time speech therapy and trying to fit this business in and being a good wife to Mike and, being a fur mom at the time, like I needed to give up something, and it was that. And I knew it was short-term sacrifices for long-term gains. And so it wasn't like Netflix was super important to me, but it was a sacrifice. And I knew that in a couple of years, 1.5 to be exact, I could binge it again. And not to say that you guys can't enjoy life during this time, but I'm just saying if you are willing to sacrifice things for 1 to 2 years to move your business and your family's lives forward, I promise you it's worth it. I promise you. Yeah, Lacey took 4 years to say yes to me too. I'm trying to think of other sacrifices. If you guys can think of any, let me know. But I woke up early. I remember sending out invites at 2 in the morning when I was breastfeeding. I remember updating the Rock the Basics training after I did my BAT, of course, at like 11 o'clock at night. I said, sorry, Mike, we're not doing date night tonight. I need to get some stuff done for my business. And as long as I communicated with him my vision and what I wanted to achieve, he was fine with that. It's when I just randomly did this business that he would get irritated. Yeah, 4 years for Christina too. Yeah. I love these questions. Thank you, Danielle. Oh, can you talk about your vision and how you just go hard till you achieve it mentally all in, like your backyard pool vision? Oh, that's cool. So when we first moved into this house, you guys, I envisioned this backyard. You guys see it? So that's a pool over there. And I would always, I had it on my vision board, and I would always envision it as if it was already happening. Like I would literally daydream about what it would feel like to jump in that pool or play with my kids in that pool. I also envisioned putting in my 1 month notice to my boss at my speech therapy job when that time came back in 2017. So I've been a full-time Beachbody coach for 3 years now. So when, but for those, probably a good year, I would wake up every day, I'd do my Miracle Morning. That book changed my life, by the way, Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. It's just a part of my life now. I forget that it came from that book. And I just envisioned literally everything that I've ever accomplished. It's because I envisioned it happening first. So if you don't talk kindly to yourself and consider it done with your vision, it's never going to happen. It's always going to be a block. And people think that that's BS and they think that that's not true, but it's the law of attraction. Whatever you think about, good or bad, is what you're going to get. Whatever you say out loud is what you're going to get. So if you say, I can't, or I'm struggling, blah, 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 that's all you're going to get. You're never going to overcome. But when you start talking like I am, I did, I will, I can, it sounds so phony, but I never talk to myself any other way than that. And I never complained. I'm gonna say out loud to you, if you guys take anything away from this call, it's this. So please get your pen and paper out. This is the mindset that honestly I think is what makes me stand apart from anyone else who doesn't make 6 figures in this business, okay? Where to go? Abundance mindset versus scarcity. Faith versus fear. Long haul mindset versus short haul. So big minded versus small minded. Solution focused versus problem focused. growth mindset focused versus fixed mindset focused, and positive versus negative. Did you catch all that? Do you want me to say it again? Yeah, okay. So abundance mindset versus scarcity. So what I mean by that is there are a million, literally millions of people to work with. So by, Missy quitting, next, there's a million other people, millions other people who want to do this thing with me. I never thought scarcity, like, there's not enough people to work with. The market's saturated. I never thought like that, ever. Faith versus fear. If you're afraid of coming across a certain way and you overthink things versus just faithing it till you make it, you're gonna struggle. But you just faith it till you make it. You just speak from the heart all the time. And your people will join you, the wrong ones won't. Long haul versus short haul mindset. So I was always in this for the long haul. I always had a vision of what I was working towards. I made that vision super clear of when I wanted to achieve that by, how much money it was going to take to get there, and set a date, a deadline date. And did I accomplish some of those goals by that date? Yeah, but some of them I didn't, and I still haven't. And a lot of those goals I've been working for 3 years, and I don't know when that'll happen, but I'm not a failure. Shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you'll still land amongst the stars. Solution focused versus problem focused. So I can always tell if a coach is problem focused if they come to me and say, I'm struggling with blank. I suck at blank. And they have no question attached to it. And I'm like, so what's your question? What solution? Are you even solution focused? So I always ask people, like, what's your question? To get them to start thinking, problem solving. Everything's figure outable. Everything's figure outable. Growth focused versus fixed focused. So growth mindset versus fixed mindset. There's a really good video on how to differentiate those two through a YouTube video. Go on YouTube, type in growth mindset versus fixed mindset. You might be able to identify yourself into one of those categories. Choose growth mindset. Doesn't mean you're fixed. If you're a fixed mindset, I used to be fixed mindset, but it's a decision to be growth. And when you get coaches on your team, you'll start to identify, oh, we got a fixed mindset person here. So it's all about awareness. Positive versus negative, right? I think that was about it. Let's see. No matter what happens, I show up, you guys. I've literally showed up every day in my business. There has never been a day where I didn't show up. There might have been, there have been days where I haven't done literally everything on my business activity tracker, but I did the most important income producing ones. See. I switched, I asked Mike about this too. I was like, what stood out to you? And he just said, you pictured the future 3 to 4 to 5 years ahead. You never thought small-minded. He goes, you were honest about your current life situation and the fact that you loved your job, but you didn't necessarily see yourself doing it forever. I think a lot of people in society, and maybe you guys can relate, that you have a lot of pride and your ego gets in the way and you continuously beat your head against the wall and forcing yourself to just live the rat race every day when really it's not fulfilling you. And I had my master's degree, you guys. I did speech therapy for 7 years of college. It was hard to accept the fact that it wasn't my purpose in life. That was really hard. That was really hard. I worked my ass off for that. I made good money. I make quadruple with Beachbody than I made with speech therapy. It was worth it. I am way more fulfilled now. The money that's just an extra topping on the cake, you guys. The money will come when you get this right. Let's see. Yeah, I think a lot of us are living with this mindset of debt is normal. And, oh, well, I'll just get it paid off in 10 years. That's how I was. You know, you guys, Mike reminded me that I used to be the kind of person that would buy bedroom furniture and be okay making payments on it. where now we buy everything in cash. Like if we don't have the money for it, I'm not buying it. You know, where before I was like, we can just we pay payments on it. And oh my gosh, I think everyone's in that mindset. And they think debt is normal. It's not normal. It's not normal. And you kind of have to get angry at your situation. So, you know, I paid off our car of $25,000 in 1 year, $50,000 for our backyard in 6 months, bought Mike's car in cash, $9,000. Okay. So whatever you guys want to achieve, you can do it. You can use this business as that vehicle. But just remember that you will make those dreams happen and make that kind of income or any sort of income with this when you help other people get what they want first. That's the biggest takeaway too. I didn't know what mile 7 or 8 looked like. I just focused on the first step. It's kind of like that Martin Luther King Jr. quote, you don't have to see the whole staircase, just take the first step. You guys, some of the things that I accomplished in my business, I couldn't even tell you what I had to do to get there. Like, I just knew that I wanted to achieve it. You know, I wanted to be on the Success Club trip every year. Did I know what it actually took to get there? No, I just knew I needed to help a lot of people and sign up people a lot. So that's what I did, and I made it happen. You kind of need to know the comp plan and like how to do this business. I don't totally recommend throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping that it sticks. But all I knew is that if I just did what I was supposed to be doing, the 4 vital behaviors, the rest was just going to fall into place. Mile 7, mile 8 was just going to be taken care of. I was resourceful. Like I said, I didn't have the mentorship like you guys get with me or that you get with your upline coach. I figured it out. You know, if I didn't know something, I looked up the coach FAQ. I looked it up on YouTube. I looked in the team page. You know, I asked questions. I asked Allison. I asked another coach on our team. I was just resourceful. Let's see. I switched my mindset from just solely recruiting to recruiting and mentoring. So I really helped my girls who wanted to build a big thriving business. I helped do that. I helped develop them into a leader, and I helped show their people how to do that. And so my girls eventually have been leaving the nest, you know? So just really mentoring people. I used to think that personal development was for the birds. I was that person who, right when I started this business, I was like, I'm fine. I'm totally fine. And yeah, I did build this business off of sheer desire and goals. But at a certain point, your mindset starts to get the best of you. And so the game changed when I plugged into personal development. And again, my first 2 books was GoPro and The Slight Edge, and Platinum Edge was one of the first podcasts I listened to. Let's see. Thank you, Christina, for writing that out. How did you, Michelle said, how did you become so confident and great at conversations? Throwing things at the wall and hoping that they stick. But you can't do that a lot. You can't do that over and over again and expect different results. That's called insanity. So I did a lot of sales books. I think one of the first sales books I ever read was The Little Red Book of Selling by Jeffrey Gitomer. It's literally a little red book. And I tune into a lot of sales podcasts, conversation books. I'm reading Instant Influence by Michael Pantalon right now. And yeah, I failed forward a lot too. So I ran a lot of calls and realized that probably wasn't the best question to ask, or shoot, I forgot to ask that question, or crap, I said too much. Yeah, so just a lot of failing forward moments. Yeah, Barry said, I took 3 years to say yes to Sabrina. Awesome. I remember Brooke posting her backyard of just gravel and talked and shared about what it would be. Yeah, that's right. I took a picture and I posted it on my social media. So you guys, the best way to make a vision come to fruition is to talk out loud about it to other people, because then you're like, shit, now I gotta do it. And how cool was it to show a before and after picture of my backyard? You know, the same thing that I said, I'm gonna make this happen. Because what you do, you guys, you're not bragging. What you're doing is you're literally painting a vision for other people of what is possible through this business. It's the coolest thing. And it's different. You know, who talks about that stuff? Not a lot of people talk about income. Not a lot of people talk about their vision of what they want to have happened. Most people are small-minded and think, well, I've only made $15 with this. How is anyone going to join me? It's not about you. It's not about you. It's about painting the vision for other people and helping them see why this can be a vision guider for them. And when they join and you help them create their vision and help that come to fruition, yours will automatically start coming into fruition as well. Oh my gosh, can you guys tell I'm passionate about this? I can't shut up. Any other things that you guys want to ask in the thread, or you can unmute yourselves too.
Am I mute or not?
Yeah, you're on.
I keep on doing mute, not mute. Hi. So I joined with one of Brooke's coaches, Amanda Hall, back in November of 2018. And I was like, I feel like you see just Blair. I didn't wear headbands before. Thanks, Brooke. But it helps. And I was like super shy, very much an introvert. I think I'm a little bit still, but I don't get as nervous when I'm speaking. And I do more videos. I do more audio, like voice messages. I'm setting up right now a Zoom meeting on Friday with all of my girls on my team, just to kind of chat with them, see how they're doing with their fitness, nutrition, motivation, and all that good stuff. I was just adding up. I had 7 people enroll in March just with the free group, and then a couple of them with actual memberships.
Wow.
And yeah, so I think, but the thing is too, like I've grown a lot, and I know that people are joining me. And even when I'm not even reaching out to them, a couple of them have joined me. But at the same time, I have to work on my mindset, where I have to remember that I'm doing everything that I can, because I can be kind of in that negative mindset where I'm not where I want to be, and that I'm not like working it enough or making the progress that I want. But yet I had all these people join me, and even a couple that I didn't even reach out to during the month. So yeah, so just keep your head up, because it's tough, but it's also rewarding, especially when you see yourself grow. That's all.
Yeah. Connie, I gotta give you props, because your confidence has grown so much. Like, I'll never forget our first mentorship call together, and just seeing you grow over the last year has been incredible. Like, no one's ever gonna reach this point where they can't grow anymore. You know, like I'm always growing, because to get from point A to point B, you have to grow so much, but to get from point B to point K, it's like you have to do more than what you were doing before. It's just always this constant leveling up. And it's so much fun to see confidence grow, because when your confidence grows and you stay enthusiastic, it's those 2 traits, you guys, that is going to be the reason why people join you. They don't care what you do or don't know. All they care about is your enthusiasm and your confidence, and them feeling your confidence that you're going to help them. Obviously, everyone's success is up to them, but our prospects don't really think that. They're just looking at you and wondering, can I do what so-and-so is doing, and will they help me get there? That's all they want to know, you know? And so when you just radiate this confidence and faith it till you make it, and work on becoming the person worthy of success, even more so than you are doing the work to see that success, you will see that success. Keith Callahan talks about that all the time. People ask so much about the how-to stuff. How do I do this? How do I post on social media? How do I have the best wording? And I'm like, none of that stuff matters, because it's all about getting this right first, and all that stuff will just happen through training, but also you leveling up as a person and growing more confident. Again, I know that sounds like witchcrafty stuff, but it's so true. Anything else?
Yes.
Hey, girl.
I have my baby.
Oh, he's sleeping. Cute.
Be quiet. Sorry.
Did you have a question, Christina?
Yes, I have a question. You may have told me before. Hold on. Well, my kid just came and woke her up. Wonderful. You may have before, but what do I need to read about having better conversations?
You guys can like literally, if you go to the personal development file of the Bod Squad in the unit section, I think it's under vital behaviors or personal development. I think it's vital behaviors. And there's a long list of all this personal development, and it's broken up into different categories. So whatever you need to work on, I highly suggest sales, relationship, connecting with people, and leadership. And when you work on those three, along with like network marketing type personal development, they kind of all go hand in hand. You know, you're kind of like killing a million birds with one stone when you tap into any of those, because they all complement each other. So that's what I recommend. And then you can, like, seriously, you can type into Google top sales books or top conversation books, top books to help me with conversations. Like, just get super resourceful and look at reviews. You can always ask your upline coach, like, hey, I came across this book. Have you heard it? Have you read it? Do you recommend it? Grant Cardone has a great sales podcast. He has great books, but he's got a sales podcast that you can listen into, and they talk a lot about like the verbiage to use for follow-ups and what to do, what not to do. The Platinum Edge podcast has some great nuggets for the mechanics. I call them mechanics of network marketing, AKA the conversations and what to do, what not to do. So yeah, notice how it's so important to be patient with yourself in the process, because it takes time to come across the right resources that you needed to come across in order to have that game-changing aha moment where the game changes, you know? So
That happened when I started reading Build to Last.
yes, I know it did for you. Yeah. Yep. So that's why when people quit this business, I'm honestly like, oh my God, they quit 5 minutes before the miracle. So yeah. Yep. And Danielle almost quit my team in the summer of 2015. I'll never forget that. And you guys, I'll never forget that conversation. I kind of just was like, you can do what you want. You know, I never want to drag anyone in this business. Like, what you do is up to you. You know, it's important to tap into that reason why you're doing this in the first place. And she stuck it out. You know, she was struggling back then, but she stuck it out. And we all still struggle. Like, I struggle. We all struggle. You're never going to be perfect in this business. And I am just so proud of her for just continuously growing and being open to change. She came to me the other week and was like, what can I work on? You know, and I just thought that was the coolest thing, because it's those people that have success in this business. Like, tell me what to do and I'll do it. It's so refreshing. It's so refreshing, because that's the mindset that you have to be in to do anything with this. So what are you guys going to improve on? What are you guys going to improve on mindset wise this week? What obstacles are you going to overcome this week that you may be overcoming currently? What are you going to do in spite of those struggles? And you guys can just post in the chat thread, so there's not like a swarm of people unmuting.
Okay, I'm gonna go real quick because my kids are crying.
Yes.
I am so afraid of talking to people and saying the wrong thing that I just end up not having conversations. So if you're wondering, that's why I haven't sent it.
Yes.
I'm gonna just be myself and stop being so afraid and just talk to people like people.
Yes.
I gotta go take care of my screaming baby. Thank you for this. I gotta go. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye, Christina. Thanks for hopping on. Mary said, I'm going to reach out to more people and get over my fear of failure. I love that. That's awesome. Good. Write this down, you guys. Action calms fear. Inaction breeds it. Action calms fear. Inaction breeds it. Lacey, not feel so bad to invite during this time. This is an amazing gift. Have confidence. Yes. Oh my gosh, you guys, people need this right now. If you want to see a message about someone who needs this right now, go to my Instagram story right after this call on my Instagram, Brooke_Orchard, and read the message that I screenshotted this morning. Like, pretend as if that person sent that to you and let it bleed into your soul, feel it, and get out there and share this. Focusing on what I put out there as abundance so that I can build a tribe who wants abundance. That's awesome, Danielle. Connie, stop blaming others' inability to start their program on myself. Oh my gosh, yeah. Yes. Take that heavy weight off your shoulders. That is so heavy. You don't got time for that. You gotta go and help people with that time. Cassie, more coaching invites, get over myself and invite to the opportunity. Yes. Cassie, that reminds me of that book, Get Over Your Damn Self by Romy Newstead. That's a really good one. That's geared towards everyone, not just Cassie. Lacey, you saw your story. That is why. Yes. Yeah. Just check that out in my Instagram stories. It's so nice, you guys, when you get those messages. And just know, too, that when you're just doing what you're supposed to be doing, you get people signed up, you're getting them results. You're sharing and recognizing your wins, your small wins, your big wins, your customers' wins, your coaches' wins, big and small. What that does is people start to get FOMO and they join you. And it's like this big ripple effect and like this snowball effect. And you'll start getting those messages, trust me. And it adds this confidence and belief to your pile. I like to call it your pebble pile, where you add a pebble to your pile and all of a sudden you have this mountain of pebbles because you've just been doing what you're supposed to be doing over the course of time. And you got this huge mountain of pebbles, right? But starting out as a new coach, you don't have any pebbles yet. And so just know that those pebbles are coming. I promise you, there is nothing sweeter than receiving a pebble. Monique, yes, this is contagious. Monique says, envisioning who I want to be at the end of next quarter and just embodying her, sharing my story and showing up for others without holding back anymore. I love it, Monique. And Monique, please reach out to me too. I want to connect with you one-on-one. Sabrina, share my vision more, financial goals and dreams for my team. Love it. I also got to give Sabrina a shout out too, because she has just she's come so far. She's just grown so much this past year. It's just been so much fun watching her. Anything else? She's back and on fire. Agreed. Yes. It's so much fun seeing people in this push season, And she's a mom of 5. Holy crap. Seriously. I'm sitting here drowning with my 2 kids. Slow your roll, Brooke. Get over yourself. I'm never going to complain ever again. I'm going to look at Sabrina and just get inspired. Barry, reaching out to more people, not making excuses that I don't have time for, I think is what you were meaning to say. Anyone else want to share? Yes. Cool. Anyone else want to share? Oh, was that a lot? Yes. It was inspo overload. But I never want to paint this picture that I'm this perfect person or that it doesn't take work to get to this place. Even like, no, that's not the picture I'm trying to paint. You will never arrive. you will never arrive. It's nice to get to this place, but I'm not someone who is complacent. I don't like to just stay stuck, you know, and if you're that way too, you're going to do really well in this business. Thank you, Sabrina. I love you and appreciate you too. And just for you being my sounding board. Sabrina's been a huge sounding board for me when I'm struggling. I've gone to her and yeah, just a lot of vulnerable moments that she's seen me through the last 5 years. It's crazy. So, but I love you guys and here for you. Please reach out anytime. I'm just here for you on a one-on-one level. So thank you, Danielle, for encouraging this call. Did someone get a picture early on? I totally forgot. You did, Connie? Okay, cool. You have to tag me. Can someone take it now? Here, let me get my phone. I'm sure someone got one. All right, ready? If you guys are able to turn on your video, please do so. If you're peeing on the toilet, don't do it. All right, 1, 2, 3. Mary, you can join in, buddy. All right, guys, love ya. Have a good night.